as the Mycenaean Greece period. It was known for the reign of King Agamemnon and the wars against Troy, as narrated later in the epics of Homer. Now, I don't want you to remember these names. I'll let you know what I want you to study later on. This information, do you know Homer is a great Greek poet and writer who wrote the famous epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey, about 750 BC. These are very important books in literature and they're very famous. The period from 11th century BC to the 8th century BC is known as the Dark Ages here because of the wars that caused Greece's economy to collapse and its population to plummet. These wars also create poverty and political confusion. This means that this period was called Dark Ages. Why? Because there were so many wars, the economy, the money in the country, it all fell apart, and population, the number of the people, plummet means became very low, and these also created poverty. People became poor there, and political confusion, lots of problem there. The period from 750 BC to 480 BC is traditionally called Archaic Age because it was considered archaic or old-fashioned in comparison with the classical age that followed. So, first of all, you have the Dark Age, you have the Archaic Age, and then you have the Classical Age. The most famous period of ancient Greek civilization is the Classical Age, which lasted from 480 BC to 323 BC. During this period, BC means before Christ. Okay? The Greeks reached their highest level of prosperity and produced amazing cultural accomplishment. So, in the Classical Age, it was the best age for Greeks. They flourished, they made lots of improvement and production for their culture. During the Classical Age, the Greeks innovated self-governing city-state, imaginative types of art, architecture, and poetry of Homer. So that time was very good for them, okay? They had a great art, great architecture, and they are the ones who invented democracy. Remember we talked about democracy in the first chapter. Now the Greeks also had organized themselves gradually. Gradually means little by little, into independent city-states, poli, in all of them, and cooperated to defend themselves during this period. So in this time, they organized themselves, they became independent small cities and states. We'll talk about this now. City-states. Ancient Greece was not a unified nation. It was not a one country, okay? It consisted of independent polis-cities. These poli were the basic units of the government. The Greek polis, city, poli means city, consisted of a small walled area that was no bigger than a few city blocks. As you can see in this map here, you can see different states, different city-states. It's just like America now, you know, if you look at the map of America, we have 50 states there, but it's one country. So here we have so many. We have Thessaly, we have Epirus, Olympus, we have many different places. Each one of them is called a city-state. Okay? Now this is a new information. Do you know the word politics is derived from the Greek word polis, which means the theory and practice of forming and running organizations connected with the government. Each polis was a nation of its own and developed independency of one another because many poli were isolated by rugged mountains and the rest were located in small islands. So due to the difference of geology. Some of them were on high mountains, some of them were on islands. On the other hand, all Greek polis shared the same language, depended on each other to survive, and developed leagues or alliances for protecting their cities against foreign invaders. So they had one army, they all protected each other, they all helped each other, and had one language, even though they were different states, and each one of them was independent. Poli also used to meet every year at a great athletic contest known as the Olympic Games. And the Olympic Games, we still have them till these days. The first Olympic Games were held in 776 BC. Poli that were at war would suspend hostilities until after the contest. Imagine even countries that were at war, they would stop the war, participate in the Olympic Games. Greek poly were originally monarchies. Now, monarchy, remember what is a monarchy? A monarchy is a country that's led by a king, and the kingdom is passed down to his son, to his elder son. And it's like this until they die, and the son give it to his son, and it's just like this. Such as Athens, Sparta, Corinth, and Thebes. These also are places in Athens in Greek, okay? And this is our lesson for today.